Last month, the body of an 85-year-old grandma was found stabbed and partially burnt at her flat here in Paris. Officials say Mireille Knoll was murdered because she was Jewish. She's just the latest victim in the recent spate of anti-Semitic hate crimes here in France, which do reportedly average around 560 people every year. The President, Emmanuel Macron, has vowed to do what he can to stamp out these crimes. But is the government doing enough? And why is anti-Semitism so persistent here in France? Well, to discuss this then, I'm joined on set by Jean-Marc Dreyfus, an expert on French anti-Semitism and a reader in Holocaust Studies at the University of Manchester in the UK. Thanks very much for coming on the programme this morning. France certainly has a dark past when it comes to anti-Semitism, and we will talk about that in a moment. But first of all, how would you characterise the kinds of anti-Semitic attacks that we're seeing at the moment here?
So it's a French specificity that Jews are being killed in France because they are Jews, you know. There is anti-Semitism all over Europe at the moment. It's growing, you know. There are problems in the UK. Hungary has an almost official anti-Semitic policy in the government, which is not the case in France. But France is the only country for the moment where Jews are being killed. There is a long stream of attacks. Each affair is singular, is specific, you know, but it's the specificity also is that the attacks are homegrown. You know, they are French people killing French Jews.
Now, these kinds of attacks, though, they are different from what we used to see back in, the 40s during the Vichy government, all the way back to the Dreyfus affair. How do you think that anti-Semitism has changed in the past decades? So
the irony in France is that globally seen, anti-Semitism has never been so low. According to the opinion polls, etc., a maximum of 20% of French people who have anti-Semitic prejudice, you know. But the specificity again is that among these 20 people, a very, very, very small minority of people are anti-Semitic enough to kill their neighbors, to kill others. And this is very worrisome, and it's very difficult to tackle. And I would say I'm kind of following the academic research, you know, social sciences, what they have to say about this new anti-Semitism. And for the moment, scientists are lost, you know. The question of radicalization, you know, these young people who are so French, who are born in France, why suddenly they can be indoctrinated the way that they will kill, you know. And this is still quite mysterious, you know, but some efforts are being made. There are some research programs being financed.
So you talk then about homegrown anti-Semitism, about anti-Semitism which comes from French people. Do you link that with a rise in Islamist extremism as well?
So it is linked. Of course, we know that for some of the extremist Islamists who killed in the name of Islam, you know, like Mohammed Merah, they clearly find their ideology in ultra-Islamic tradition, you know, that is pertaining in some sectors of the French society via the internet. And the internet is a major problem, but there are some new steps being taken, you know. The very relaxed approach to the internet, I think it's over.
Let's talk then about this latest attack, the murder of Mireille Knoll. We saw really quite a big political response to that, marches across Paris, even across different parts of France. And Emmanuel Macron says he wants to stamp this out. Do you think his government is doing enough, or what else should they be doing?
You know, it's difficult to see. More could be done, of course. There is a question of education first, you know, that among the murderers, there are a fringe of the population, young population, very young murderers, who are left behind by the society. You know, there is a piling up of problems. You know, there is the ideology, there is this anti-republican ideology, there are social problems. You know, everything should be tackled at the same time. But there is a matter of prevention. A lot can be done via the services, you know, the police service, who try to monitor in advance, you know, the attack. And they have been quite successful, I must say, in the last months, you know, to prevent some attacks.
OK, Jean-Marc Dreyfus, thank you very much talking to us there about anti-Semitism here in France for our Perspectives segment here on France 24.